Hello world, hello Facebook, hello all those watching this on listenvisionlive.com. It's the Nitty Gritty Show. It's your boy Jay DeCosta.
It's your girl Katniss.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty.
It's Tim Wise. You're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
Everybody, this is Stevie Powell. You're now watching the Nitty Gritty Show. Check it out.
And so I'm DeCosta and you need to watch the Nitty Gritty Show.
My name is Sherman Moss, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
That's the Grant Thompson, a.k.a. G. Ainsworth, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
I'm Anthony White, and this is the Nitty Gritty Show.
Yeah. Bam, it's Jay Thompson. You're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
You are watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
My name is Jay Grant Thompson, and guess what? You're in tune to the Nitty Gritty Show.
I'm Will Jawando, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
Hey, my name is Mitch Holmes, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
And my name is Peter DeCosta and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
This is Pastor Rob, and you're on the Nitty Gritty Show.
I'm Ray Pittman, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
Hey, this is Joni Ford of Ford Wilderness, and you're watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Benny Black, and you are watching the Nitty Gritty Show.
It's time for the Nitty Gritty. Conversations get real live. It's time for the Nitty Gritty. The revolution's not televised. It's time for the Nitty Gritty. Reaching out to your conscious mind. It's time for the Nitty Gritty. More than talking, we're taking action. It's time for.
Yo, what's going on, world? What's going on Facebook? Everybody catching us live on listenvisionlive.com. It's your boy Jay DeCosta, and I'm in the building with all the fellas. We deep in this mug, you know, all that good stuff, right? Yeah. Happy about today's show. This is a follow-up to last week's show where we had all the ladies doing their thing. Tay and Katniss definitely did their thing in that show with Corey and Leah. And so we have the man's panel on love, sex, relationship, and life as well. So this should be very interesting. I'll just start kind of like coming from my side. I got Steve Powell. Y'all, if you have been watching the show, you should know who Steve Powell is. But Steve Powell also does a lot of great work in Baltimore and the DMV area with homelessness, Jose's World. So, and then also a photographer, a man of many talents and abilities. So I'm happy to have him on. Always a great voice. Then I got my man Damo or Damien Seay. Damien, you also do a lot of stuff with Christian hip hop in the area too, right?
Yeah, I work with a Christian hip hop site out of Atlanta called trackstars.com.
Yeah. So
weekly blogs with them.
Yeah, and I know you do a lot of stuff also with like helping out singles and stuff in the in the Christian community out here too.
Yeah,
like this
with the young adult ministries at the church, at Reed Temple.
Yeah. So definitely great to have you on, sir. Then we also got Devlen Watkins, also a very conscious voice. Had a lot of great input with him on the show that we had a couple of weeks back. Actually just before I think the end of the new year. So yeah, it's great to have you back on, sir. Hey, you had a lot of great input, so I was happy to have you on the show. And then also we have Paul Thompson on the show.
Yeah.
Minister, Reverend.
Yeah.
Paul Thompson on the show.
Take it all. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And he's a minister of song, but then also you're dividing that word too. So
a little bit,
yeah. So
most importantly, I'm a husband and a father.
Yeah, and the representation on this panel is dope, right? I got single men, I have single men in relationships, I have married men. There's some of us have been divorced before. Not all of us have kids. Some of us have kids in different capacities as far as how we're in our kids' lives. So this is a very diverse panel, so it's really, really dope. And some wisdom too, some age, and, we ain't talking about no young bucks over here. Like these folks, they lived a little life, little season, right? Yeah.
Seasoning,
yeah. We got veterans and everything up here.
Lowry's, yes, sir.
So yeah, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. But before we get down to the nitty gritty, I got to give these to hell withs, and I got to also throw out some blessings. So first one to hell with people hating on Black Panther moviegoers for dressing up. Listen. People dress up for Star Wars. They dress up for Harry Potter.
Right.
They dress up for Twilight, all these other comic book movies. There's nothing wrong with folks being fans. If that's how they want to enjoy the movie, if they want to dress up like they're members of Wakanda, yo, do your thing, boo. If that's not your stilo, look, you just go down in a regular pair of Levi's. That's cool. But don't get mad because someone is dressing up, because that's just part of fan base. And that's why these other movies are doing so well, because they have that kind of fan and supportership. I'm just happy to see that people weren't out there in mass bootlegging the movie, all right? They went up there, they paid for the ticket. I seen a lot of concessions were purchased as well. So, that actually dispelled that rumor that we was going to come in there with our own plate. Now, there were pictures of people with their own plate. It did happen. We going to be us still. But you know, like, hey, let people live, right? You know, it was a great movie. Got to give it to hell with to the shooting in Broward County, Florida. 17 dead. Yeah. I forgot the number of wounded. But the thing that blows me, right? Nicholas Cruz, the shooter, was still alive, right? And this is bullcrap because if you're black and carrying Skittles in the Arizona iced tea, playing with a toy gun in a park, handcuffed at a rail station, selling loose cigarettes, or just a routine traffic stop, good chance you're going to end up dead with your interaction with the police. But I find it quite interesting that a white active shooter can rack up kills like he playing Call of Duty, and somehow they can still buy this joker a soda and some McDonald's. They lightly cuffing them, or they still allowed to be diagnosed in the first place. That's crazy to me because people don't understand that a problem with the guns in this country, besides the fact that you're buying a weapon that can kill multiple people at a time, like when our forefathers started this thing, they were looking at muskets. You still have to have some skill to fire off a musket. You had to have some warrior too. You just couldn't be a punk behind a gun. But these days, they don't understand how white privilege is a big part of our gun problem. Most of these mass shooters, there's only one in history, John Malvo out here in the D.C. area, that was of the darker hue. Everyone else was white or of the European diaspora. The issue is these jokers is buying AR-15s like they're buying candy, and no one's questioning the motive behind why you got so many guns.
Because if it look like you, then it ain't you. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So we got a question that if we're going to talk about gun laws and gun safety, sure, do we need regulations? That's fine. But until you start taking the serious threat of the people using these guns and how they're using these guns, like, come on, Slim, we had a loss. So definitely got to give that to hell with. There might be some people that come for me, but y'all know where to find Jay DaCosta, and y'all know where to find me on the Nitty Gritty Show. I'm always welcome to have a debate on Facebook, and I'm giving that energy today, so we can do that. Look, but blessings, because we always end on a positive note. Blessings to the Black Panther movie in general. Movie made $75.8 million on Friday, opening night, $25.2 million on Thursday alone, just in previews, and is on pace to clear $218 million over the President's Day weekend. So that's dope. So black movies are profitable. And just to mention just another movie off the side, like movies like Friday, people look at it, oh, it's low budget. Is that really profitable? Well, it was. I had a $3 million budget and made $27.5 million in the box office. Yeah. So when you look at the percentage to the amount of money made versus the investment, black movies, and no matter what capacity it is, they're still very profitable. So Hollywood, let's get our act together. Like, you're on a nice little run right now. Don't mess it up. And then just to throw out some Black History Month facts real quick, first Marvel movie superhero was Blade, played by Wesley Snipes, for those that don't know. A little story behind that. That actually is what pushed and propelled Marvel into the movie hero cinema phase, was actually those Blade movies. They made enough money that we have the Black Panther and the Avengers and all that stuff going on now. So I thought that was pretty cool that, it was a black actor that kicked it off in the first place, and a black comic book hero. First black comic. A lot of people don't know this, but it came up a lot, so I figured I'd mention it. It was Lobo. It was actually a Western comic. It was pretty dope back then. Didn't have a long run, but just throwing out a little history. And then the first black performer to win an Academy Award was Hattie McDaniel for her role in Gone with the Wind, 1940. And then the first black movie star was Lincoln Perry, known, unfortunately, for a character that gave an ill representation of blacks, most known for the Stepin Fetchit character and roles like that. But to see how far we've come from 1937 and 1940 to where we are now, and we still have a far way to go, but I feel like movies like Black Panther and projects like Insecure and Atlanta are giving us pride, things to be happy in. So, let's just keep it moving, Hollywood, and I hope that as we continue to fund these things, we'll see more of it. Two more quick blessings to Drake for his God Plan video. I don't know if anybody on the panel seen it, but that was dope that he gave all that money away. It was almost $1 million. He was just doing random acts of kindness to all of Miami. I feel like if you're going to stunt as a rapper, stunt and blessing people. If you're going to stunt, that's the way to stunt. Yeah. So I'm not even a Drake fan, but Drake gets a lot of love from me on that one. And those who know me know I don't like Drake. I'm dark skinned to the heart. You know what I mean? Arguably, could be passed as the one light skinned dude on this panel. Right. But today, y'all just know deep down inside I'm dark skinned. And then shouting to my girl Tay Jordan, the one and only Tay Jordan. She's no longer with the Nitty Gritty Show. She's taking on some opportunities out there in New York, and we're really happy for what she's gonna be doing. And of course, y'all can still catch Tay though. She's still running the blackjuice.com, so she still puts out a lot of great content there. You guys can always shout out to her through the blackjuice.com. Don't be afraid to sip the juice. So blessings to you, boo. I know you're going to be doing big things because everybody who knew Tay knows she was a baller and a hustler. And that's going to always remain the same. But now we about to get down to the nitty gritty and talk about this thing. So I'm going to start with a quick video. It was a video done on the news explaining, it was a video about black men can't find, black women trying to find love, and then there's black men out there saying like, look, you know, there's love out here to be gotten. And there's some stories, and you know, they're in the barbershop, which I think is pretty dope. I think we're gonna have a kind of a barbershop feel here on this panel today. So we're gonna play that video, and then after that, we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. Jay, can you roll that video for me, sir?
Well, a story that we aired last week about single African-American women looking for good black men. It got a lot of people talking.
We hear from viewers who posted comments on our Facebook page and called the newsroom.
But some of the reaction came from black men who say that the story struck a nerve. Let's go now to WDSU reporter Tiffany Bradley, who has their side.
Many African-American women say there's a shortage of good black men, and that feeling has many crying foul, in particular black men themselves.
They have some great young men out here.
So I headed to the one place black men feel comfortable talking about anything, the barbershop.
A woman is in position to push a man forward.
Here we found a small group of men chatting about relationships.
Even though all the obstacles that we had to overcome, all the stuff from 1980 with dealing with drugs and poverty and lack of education, we're still making it in 2011.
Owner Wilbert Wilson says there is a disproportionate number of black men behind bars, unemployed and lacking education. But he says that doesn't mean good black men are obsolete. Some of his clients agree.
How are you defining a good black man? To me, in my perspective, in my opinion, a good black man is a man that will love you like he loves his daughter.
Wilson says he's a product of epidemic struggles within the African-American community. He sold drugs when he was younger. Then at 34, he met his future wife, Joyce. He was out of work with only a high school education and living at home with his parents.
And I told her that I was in barber school and I was going to be finishing up maybe in 2 more months.
Wilson says his wife took a chance on him.
We've been married 6 years, and you know, my wife worked for me. She used to work for Shell, Narco, EPA inspector. Now she works at Mr. Chills.
I think
Counselor Kenneth Foy says more black women should take that leap of faith.
A lot of those women have been educated, they got good careers, and I think
yeah, and that's a really good video. So if you watch furthermore what the counselor talks about, he's talking about how, you know, the women, you know, they have the good careers, they have the good jobs, and then they're looking for a man that's going to be their equal, and they feel like they don't have that. And he was just, you know, he put out some stats to say that's not necessarily true. But then if you do feel like it's true, you got to also be cognitive to the fact that our government does tend to target our men. And we seen that just with the example I gave with the shooting, and then versus, you know, how we're harassed by cops on routine traffic stops. So, you know, there's no lie there. There's a lot of facts to go around it. But what I want to start with, right? I mean, obviously, we got 5 black men up here. All of us are into black women, if not married to a black woman or not currently dating a black woman, right?
Yes, sir.
I feel like we're all good brothers. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we're all employed. I'm going to say where you guys work.
Yeah,
Because,
talk
you know,
your talk, sir.
Yeah, but I know y'all all work and make good money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? If anyone of y'all want to give me some money after the show, feel free to, because I know y'all got it, right? So, you know, there's a lot of thought process on us. But then, you know, people are wondering what the good men are looking for, right? So I want to hear from the good brethren. You know, what are y'all looking for when it comes to women? Don't all speak at once.
Man, okay. For me, I want somebody that's just into me. You know, it doesn't matter what they look like, per se. I mean, you know, you can't look like a duck, but somebody that's gonna be true to me. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, let's go.
It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter where you live. But if you can give me your heart, and you can have eyes only for me, then that's what I want. I want somebody that's gonna be about me and only me.
I appreciate that. I think I concur. Any other thought process, brothers? What we looking for with these women?
You know, I wouldn't really. I guess I would kind of just say what you said. Like, I mean, I've been married now for getting ready to be 4 years, and what I thought I wanted, I wasn't what I got. You know, but I got what I needed. You know what I'm saying? And what I need was a girl like my wife. The one thing I love about her is how much she's down for me. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's the most attractive thing. Yeah. she will ride for me, with me. You know what I'm talking about?
Loyalty.
So that loyalty, man, is something that, listen, I ain't going nowhere.
Absolutely.
Just based off the strength of that loyalty.
Yeah, I would say definitely somebody you can relate to, that you feel like you can truly be a friend with that person, that you can communicate, you can share your deepest, darkest parts with that person and not feel like you have to hold anything back. But again, with the loyalty, you feel like this person has my back. So I'm struggling with something, I can talk to them about that. Just to know that they're there for you, that they're concerned about you. They're not worried about trying to dig into your pockets for anything or trying to take anything from you, but that they're there to support you and kind of undergird you in whatever you're doing.
For me, I think I would be looking for a giver, someone who's willing to give of their time and of their self, not only just to me, but to the world at large. You know, I want somebody that's able to, roll their sleeves up and be kind to others, because I think that's lacking in a lot of people, and whether you're in a relationship or not, so someone who's always in a position to give, because I'm going to give. So I would like that reciprocity.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Make sure your mic is on too. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on. It's on. Yeah. So I would, I agree with those answers. I really do. I think, and the misconception is like we don't think about character. It's all about looks, but looks do matter too, right? So. A lot of sisters act like we don't like certain types of women. I'm not gonna lead the witness, but when you guys, I seen what your wives look like, or the women y'all with. So I mean, I know y'all definitely checking for the sisters, right? So, but they don't know that. They don't know that. So that's just opinions, and y'all don't get yourselves in trouble explaining too much. But when y'all see a sister, like what's attractive to y'all, like anything from natural hair, maybe how they dress. What are we? Because before we get to sit down and have a conversation, we notice what they look like. So, what's the thing that gets you to turn your head?
Man.
I know one of those things already is an automatic.
Before I answer that,
there we go.
I'm gonna jump out there and I'm gonna say, because my wife and my 4 kids are watching. So I want to shout them out real quick. What up, honey?
Hey, nicely done, sir.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like when I met my wife, son. She had the fattest butt. And I was like, that gotta be.
Yeah. Talk your talk,
hey,
sir.
I'm gonna tell you, man.
Tell the truth.
When she turned around, she had this amazing smile. So I was like, oh my God. That Poison song, Don't Trust a Big Button to Smile? I'm here almost 9 years later, riding with this woman.
Facts.
But
that's what's up.
Is what literally, when I first saw her, I was like, God, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell the truth.
That's my truth.
Like the first thing that I saw, like my wife and I met online. So it wasn't. We met on. Can I say it? Can we? Isn't it?
Yeah.
So we met on eHarmony. And it wasn't. So the first thing that attracted me to her definitely was. I mean, she looks like a model. My wife is absolutely positively banging, and it ain't just one physical thing. It's the entire physical package. You know what I'm saying? So of course, when I first saw it, I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm on this. But I don't want to seem like I'm giving the corny answer, but real talk though, it was like legitimately what made me want to continue talking to her was that I immediately knew that she was like attracted and like she wasn't afraid to say I want that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like hey, you what I'm looking for, boss. Let's ride. You know what I mean? So it helps that she looks like a magazine cover. You know what I mean? Real talk. But the thing that loyalty, yo, I hate to say that again because we said it already.
No, that's real though.
Facts are facts.
Let them know.
Facts are facts.
Loyalty's important.
Yeah, like brothers always said, we like the woman to look nice. We like nice butts, we like nice chests, we like nice legs, we like all that stuff. So to try to pretend like, oh, we don't pay no attention to that would definitely be a lie. And I know with my lady, like I was like, she fine.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was like, yeah. I mean, physically she has attributes that I like, but it's that it doesn't end there. So I think you sell yourself short and that person when you just stop at, well, they look good, so I'm gonna keep them around. It's like, no, like he was saying, there were other things about her that made him want to keep talking to her. So there has to be something past that is like, okay, yeah, you look good, and I look good walking down the street with you, but if we sitting in the car, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want you to say nothing because I just don't like you as a person.
That's your sting right there. Because there's a lot of people, they put too much attention on, the looks. And, fellas, and I'll start with Steven on this question. Do you feel like there's a lot of peer pressure from other men to like a certain type of woman? Like, I don't know if you guys ever dealt with this. I know I've seen this in some of my circles, especially more so in the college years. You'll see a woman that look cute. Me, I'm all about the chocolate. But, light skin was popping back then. I mean, light skin is still kind of like the thing, I guess, to go with by default. For there's no real reason at all except the chick is just a light skinned chick. And, they'd be like, oh, you like that? Because I've been into natural hair before it became a thing. I was feeling it back, in college. And they'd be like, oh, man, you think that look good? You like that? I'm like, yeah, that's cute, shorty, cute. Like, that's how her hair look. If we go to the beach, she could get wet. And, like, it's not no whole ordeal. We could go out here and really have fun. So, like, do you guys ever feel like you've come across that in life where there's peer pressure to like a superficial type?
That's a good question.
I wouldn't say peer pressure, but I think we all have circles of friends that if someone in our circle is dating someone that we deem as unattractive, they're going to get clowned.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it would be peer pressure, but I think there is a certain amount of bullying that comes along with dealing with women that you find attractive that everyone else may not necessarily find attractive.
Switch out your mic real quick. Cool.
Yeah, so, you can hear me now. Yeah, so I definitely think there's bullying involved. I don't know if it's necessarily peer pressure, but I think for me, I like who I like, I guess at this age, but obviously when I was younger, yes, light-skinned girls were the coup de grace, if you will. Those are the ones that you had to like. So, yeah, I would say when you're younger it is, for sure.
Got it. Any of you guys other than that ever experienced that before or seen that before?
I think to some extent, I think you hit on something that was real dope, though. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of, and you touched on it, Juan, from the beginning when you introduced the panel. What you have here is a sense of, in my opinion, maturity. And a lot of this differs when you mature. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a child, I thought as a child, but now that I'm a man, I put away childish things. So when I was younger, of course, you know what I'm saying? Like there was just certain things that you just thought you had to have. That was what you thought was attractive. But as grown men, even as you listen to us discuss what we're attracted to, what you keep hearing is the package. Because when you become older, when you become more mature, the package is, because at some point you've already done all the, you know what I mean? Like you done played around, you know what I'm saying? For lack of a better way to put it, you've done the superficial. But when you get to be our level of maturity, though, you're looking for the real, and the real can't be found in the little tiny natural hair versus non-natural light skin versus dark skin. It goes far, far beyond that, and it's much deeper than that.
Yeah, I would say for me personally, I know when I was younger, when I wanted to approach somebody, that was like a criteria I kind of had in the back of my head was, what are my boys going to think? And now as I've gotten older, I care less about that. And I think, do I like the person? And like, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine, we were talking about a girl we went to high school with. She had a bad hip, so she walked funny. But she's a very attractive girl. And we were both like, we were immature because probably a bunch of dudes looked past her because they said, oh, she has this thing wrong with her that you can physically see. So we're going to bypass her, and versus looking at the character of who she is versus just looking at superficial things.
Yeah. And I mean, Juan, you touched on it a little bit. Growing up, like you said, light skin was a thing. But I'm going to shout it out to the dark skinned women. Always had a thing for chocolate women. But as I grew up, I realized, okay, I'm kind of shortening my pool of beautiful women because all black women, don't matter light skin, brown skin, dark skin, all black women are beautiful.
That's real.
And if you limit yourself to say, well, my boy is going to, think I'm what's up because I got this light skinned girl, and you miss out on that dark skinned woman. That dark skinned woman might be that one that holds you down when that light skinned woman is looking for another brother to make her feel qualified and beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that you said that too. And then something I got to bring up, because I know all the women at home are watching. And they like, why don't you just say what we all want you to say? How about these white women? You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause that's what they want to know. They want to know, like, are we checking for white girls at all? I know me personally, nothing against a white girl. I mean, I think there's some cute ones out there. I know I have my preference, and I like chocolate, right? But how do we feel about dating outside the race? You know what I'm saying? Is that a bad thing? I don't want to lead the witness. It's a bad thing. It's a good thing. How do we feel about it? Is it a no-no?
I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I think we talked about this before. I just have a problem with interracial dating if you're dating in spite of what we have to offer. And that's for black men, black women, whatever. So if you're dating outside of the race because you feel there aren't any good black women or any good black men, that's what I have an issue with. But other than that, no. Now, do I date outside my race? Absolutely not.
That part.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not feeling it at all. Because my position is, how can you be with someone that doesn't understand your struggle? How can you share with someone that doesn't understand where you're coming from? You know what I'm saying? I mean, love is love. Everybody says, oh, you love who you love. But to love someone that doesn't understand you or understand where you're coming from when situations like the shootings happen or, black men getting harassed and locked up on disproportionate numbers, when you're frustrated, who do you run to? If you run into somebody that doesn't understand you, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a whole bunch of uncomfortableness there because she might be uncomfortable because she don't really understand why you're so angry, and you might be uncomfortable because you look at her like, it's your people doing this to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm a big fan of staying within my own. I love black women, and I'm here because of a black woman.
Facts.
So I can't look at anything else but a black woman, to be for real with you.
Yeah, I had to say I love my sisters. I don't have a problem with dating outside of my race, but just me personally, I love black women, and I just think that there's just something about them that's just so unique to any other. Yeah. It's just something about them. And you look at it, it's like you look at them, it's like they cool, but you're not like her. And like as far as white women, I mean, not to say that there's no attractive. There are plenty of very attractive white women, but I've always felt like I've put them to a higher standard than black women because I feel like black women are so bomb. So it's like, yeah, you're not even close to what I feel like they are. You're not even, you're nowhere close to that. So, but that's like I said, that's just a personal preference. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them, but yeah, I love my sisters. I think they're unique. I think they're special.
I think, oh man, yo. I mean, I hear what everybody's saying. Respect. I'm okay with interracial dating. It doesn't matter to me. I guess I just quite frankly don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like I was too busy looking for what I wanted to be happy than to care what anybody else was doing with their relationship. Like I don't care. If you date a white woman, then go ahead, rock, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you think she's gonna give you what you need to get, then go ahead. I mean, I've dated 2 white women in my life. And I think that ultimately what it came down to is I say the N-word way too much. You know what I'm saying? Like I say it a whole lot.
Culturally, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, and it just came down to the point where like I was talking my talk, and it's like I would really have an attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like I would really feel a certain kind of way if you felt comfortable. It's like I want you to be comfortable with me, but if you ever got to the point where you was comfortable enough to talk like that, then how would that make me feel? So it's kind of like what you were saying. Like that's when I met that bypass with you, that impasse where it was like, you know what, wait a minute, y'all, you don't really understand me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. I mean, because at that point, I was young. I was just into women. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it didn't matter. But when you get to that point, again, maturity, that, you know what, whoa, we can't relate here. And that's a big part of who I am. You know what I'm saying? I had to dip out.
Better drop that N-word one time. You're going to find out real
quick. Yeah, man. Listen. It's going to be a problem, yo.
Oh,
it's going to be a problem.
Everything coming to a halt.
Like, So,
absolutely.
One more thing about women, and I'm going to move on to some other conversations because there's some stuff I want to hit on while I have all y'all here. Do we really care if a woman's been divorced or she already has kids? Or is there such thing as too many kids, too many previous relationships? You know, does that matter?
Man, that's a tough one, man.
Man.
Like, that kind of touched.
Yeah.
So I can only speak from experience. So my wife,
sir.
When I met her, she has 3 beautiful children, my children.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it shouldn't matter how many she has, or if she's been married before, because she's been previously married. It's what does she add to your life,
my man,
or what can she, what can she bring to you?
Facts.
And so, what if she got 3, 4, 5 kids? None of that matters, because if you love her, y'all gonna build that together. That's yours.
Facts.
You nurture that and you take it. I mean, when I was younger, it'd be like, oh, nah, she got kids. I can't, she gonna be all in my pocket. I gotta take care of these kids. Nah, hell nah. But I'm just being real with you. When you get older, you realize, man, shit.
No. It's an adult show.
But when you get older, you realize that you could miss out on so much good.
Facts,
because you're being shallow-minded to what she brings in. So what if she comes with a ready-made family? If you love her, you love it all.
Right. And I don't feel like, that right there is one of them points that and honestly, in my opinion, we could just go ahead and move. But you know what I'm saying? But I feel like then we get into the thing about preferences. There are people who say, some black women are too picky. You know what I'm saying? Like can you get a man, you too picky? I just feel like sometimes your preference is your preference. My wife, when I started dating my wife, she was pregnant with my daughter. And I like how you said that, that she was pregnant with our daughter. And so at first there was a sort of impasse where it's like, yo, I'm dating this woman, she pregnant with a kid that ain't mine. Like, how's this going to play out? But again, when she feeds your soul, boss, you know what I'm saying? Like it's, like you say, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. So you can have your preferences, I get it, but when you reach a level of maturity, preference goes out the window to how you're being taken care of, and that's what you need to pay attention to, is your soul being fed, is your heart being taken care of. I feel like we're going to come down to a lot of answers like that when you're dealing with some brothers who's been through it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really worried necessarily as we would have been in our 20s, you know what I'm saying, about the stuff that I'm in my 30s, dog. I ain't got time for all that. I was looking for somebody to take care of my heart, and when I found her, it was a wrap.
There you go.
One thing I noticed about this panel that has not come up yet, and there's a big difference because, we just had a women's panel, and that seemed to be a big part of the conversation, but it hasn't even come up that one time here is money. Like, how much money they bring to the table.
Why does that matter, though? You know what I'm saying? Why does that matter? I hear it all the time when I'm talking about, he got to match my credit score, or he got to have this money. What does it matter? So what if he makes $40,000? Is he able to take care of the house? Is he able to take care of your heart? Money, and that's a problem with today. We equate beauty and compatibility with finance. Yeah, love don't pay the bills, but you can make 7 figures and be miserable. Why does money even come into play when you talk about the matters of the heart? It should be, what does that person do for me? How does that person feed me, and how do I feed that person? I don't care if you're a janitor, if you work at McDonald's, as long as you and I can build. Because if you got nothing and I got nothing, and we build the greatness, then we great together. But if you come in great and I'm trying to get mine, you always going to hold it over my head. If money matters to you, you always going to be like, well, that nigga ain't got nothing. Let me check out Sean over here around the corner, because Sean drive that Lexus and got that house. That's right. Money should never come into play when you talk about love.
I watched last week's show, and not to offend any of the women on the panel, but they all talked about earning potential, but not one of them could tell me how they would like to be treated in a relationship.
Facts.
Like they're looking for equality and earning power, and I don't have a problem with that. But no one told me if they were looking for equality and treatment, whether they wanted to be cared for. Do they care about somebody being loyal to them? It was all about financial ambition. I don't have a problem with that. That's cool. But when you put so much emphasis on the financial aspect of a relationship, you lose out on yourself and on building an actual foundation of friendship, of love, of connection, of communication, of laughter. These are the intangibles, in my opinion, that can't be bought. To your point, you want ambition, you want me to be financially stable, fine. I'm never going to be home, because that's what it takes for me in order to provide that 7-figure lifestyle.
Exactly.
You'll never see me. But that's what you want. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and it's sad because, I think we've seen some consensus where, and not just from our panel, last week, but I've seen a lot of these conversations on Facebook where we're living in a day and age where we've seen the sisters say, they're willing to sacrifice those things for, someone who got that bag.
Not the sister you had on last week. You ain't sacrificing none of that.
No, now we had, like I feel like Katniss, and then we had another one that we're definitely feeling like, but I think a lot of that too went into another conversation about how people are raised coming from a certain type of household. They value certain things more so versus when you don't come from a certain kind of setting. Maybe if you've never seen it, how can you value it? So I think that does matter.
But can I ask something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like personally, I don't feel like. Okay, here's how I rock though. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with a woman taking earning potential into consideration when she picks a partner. I don't feel like it's but I feel the same way about that as I feel as her. She can take into consideration education. She can take all those things into consideration for all I care. And if I don't meet those criteria, then don't pick me. And because we're not compatible. Like everybody has a choice. Not everybody needs to be with everybody. You can take into consideration whatever you want to. But the facts of the matter is, there's a potential for loneliness when you get what we would call too picky. Fine, great. You can have whatever standards you want. As far as I'm concerned, it don't matter to me. If I meet a young lady and her like if I met my wife and her one of her criteria was he has to be making 7 figures and I'm not making that, sis, bye. Right. I don't have to be with you. I don't have to be in a relationship with you. Right. You don't have to be in a relationship with me. So all of that, and my other thing is, I think that there's more to relationships than love. I don't think that love is the only determining factor, because at the end of the day, you said it one time when you were talking, you were like, let's talk about it. Let's be real. Love don't pay the bills. You understand what I'm saying? Like love takes care of your heart. It makes sure that your soul is taken care of. That nurtures you. At the end of the day, to a woman, there may be something about the fact that you are unemployed that gives her a sight into something else about you that she would rather not deal with. And here's the thing. If you'd rather not deal with that, great. I'd rather not deal with you. I got one. Fine. Lord knows she didn't take my earning potential into consideration when she married me, boss. But at the end of the day, it just so happened that God orchestrated this thing so that she takes care of my heart, she takes care of my house, she takes care of my children, she takes care of all that. And it just so happens that, by the orchestration of God, things just happen to fall into that place. But I ain't got no problem with you taking money into consideration.
And I want to be clear too, because I remember saying that if I have no problem taking earning power into it on top with the other things. And
no, but I get your point. If it's the only thing, though.
For me, and also, I never want to not be in a position when I'm not able to provide. Right. So I get that. So please take my earning potential into consideration, because I was just raised to be able to provide, even if you don't need me to. The ability to me is important to me as well. Yeah. Working hard and being able to provide a stable household for my family financially and otherwise. Because to your point, love doesn't pay the bills, and we all know that finances is one of the biggest reasons why our people get divorced.
Absolutely.
So we can't pretend like that's not an issue.
But what you just said is the answer to the question that Juan originally just asked. You know what I'm saying? When he talks about, like, with brothers, do we take earning potential into consideration? And I think some of that is because we culturally, we are taught to provide. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So we are groomed to take care of. So it's her earning potential isn't always necessarily something that you think about, because as a man, you thinking, I'm gonna take care of it anyway. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
There's a difference between earning potential and unemployment. Now, if you messing with a brother that has no ambition, ain't thinking about a job, then you got a problem. But if you're with a brother or looking at a brother that has a job, but just don't have that money that you're looking for, there's a difference.
That's true.
You can build that.
That's true.
You want somebody with ambition and somebody that wants to work. Not somebody that's like looking for you to take care of them or saying, well, the man holding me down. Fuck. Excuse me.
It's an adult show. I told my kids not to watch today. We put the warnings up.
Forgive me for a minute. Because I'm tired of hearing about brothers talking about, I can't get this, I can't get this. There's too many damn jobs out there for you to get. But when women start saying, well, he got to have this and he got to have that, outside of him having that, does he have you?
Right.
Boom. Yeah. And if he can have you and provide, it don't matter.
And that's facts, and I agree with that. One thing I'm gonna bring up, and then I'm gonna switch gears because I want to get this. We got to get this other conversation in. When it comes to money, I look at how much are you willing to contribute to us. It's not so much about how much money you got, but we live in a situation where people are just selfish. It could be men or women, right? Selfishness comes in all sexes and genders. But I feel like sometimes you'll have a situation where you want women to do everything for you, even in dating. And it's like, well, if you haven't proven that you're willing to ride or die for me, because we talk a lot about loyalty on this show, but when people are not willing to spend their money with you, then it makes you wonder, like, well, you know, how much do you really have my back? Because that shows a characteristic of your loving me. Now, you know, like, and don't get me wrong, like, if I'm a millionaire, then yeah, me buying some red bottoms ain't nothing, right? But you know, if all you make is $20,000, this maybe the thought of a card on my birthday would be nice, because you know, like, you know, you just don't pay with your body, because that's a different kind of like. Now we get into a different kind of thing, right? That's a whole nother situation. So, like, you know, the sacrifice, like, even if it's just cooking up a great meal or something, something that you have to put effort to bring to the table, that kind of like sets the stage for how that marriage may look, you know, going forward. So I think that's something to bring up. But one I want to talk about, because we were kind of talking about this before the show, and it's been a lot. I gotta talk about old boy Derrick Jackson, and I got a parody of him because he's Mr. Love for relationships. I got a bunch of men. I gotta attack this while I got him. Yo, Jay, roll that video for me real quick.
Team Jackson, what's up? So I was on IG live chat talking to one of my male followers, and he proceeds to tell me how his wife of 3 years had an affair, and he couldn't understand why or what he did to cause her to do this. He makes 6 figures. He pays all the bills in the house. He cooks, he cleans, he does laundry, he does dishes. He spends quality time with her. He cuts all his friends off. He does everything for her. He gives her roses and candy and balloons and cards just because days and everything like that. So I wanted to tell him, you know, give him some great advice, and I told him that it's your fault, man. It's your fault because you think just because you do those things that you've done enough. Let me tell you something, man. Just because you make 6 figures doesn't mean anything. You should make 7. Just because you do flowers, candy, balloons on just because days, that means absolutely nothing. Like, how about for once you take her on a private jet to Costa Rica on a day just because? Or how about you take her to Jay-Z and Beyonce's house for dinner one night just because? See, you fellas out here, my brothers, y'all think y'all doing so much, but you're really not. A woman needs more than quality time. She needs more than candies, flowers, just because. She needs more than you to pay all the bills, more than you to make a lot of money. She needs more than just that. She needs you want to give her the world? When's the last time you've been to NASA and asked them how much it costs to buy an actual planet? I bet none of y'all ever thought of that, though, right? But you want to say, oh, I want to give you the world. Come on. This goes further. This goes back into the Old Testament. Because if Adam wasn't so busy playing 2K and Madden, he would have spent time with Eve, and she would have never had a chance to get tempted. So, to the fellas,
yo, that was one of the funniest Derrick Jackson parodies I've ever seen in my life. When I found that joint, I was crying. Because this is how old boy be talking, right? Yeah. And then people always like, oh, y'all just hated on Derrick Jackson. And I get it. Ladies feel like the brother is fine, right? You know, he got his shirt half off in half the videos, or he found like the best medium he could get. I get it, right? Good looking dude, fun for the ladies to look at. All right, cool, you got your eye candy. But then, like, the brother doesn't even live the things he's talking about. Like, he been exposed, like, and I know for all my black women watching the show, it's like cursing when you say to the man that got a white woman. You know what I'm saying? But he got 2 baby moms by white women. Like we discussed before, we don't really have a problem with that. Don't date in spite of. But all his literature, all his T-shirts, all his books are definitely marketed not just to women, but to black women. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's dangerous when you have these various voices, men and women, trying to get women to think a certain way. And I think now we're at the point where women are just looking for financial gain. And I feel like that's scary. Like, I don't know if you guys heard the situation. I kind of want y'all thoughts on this. Have y'all heard about the Blake Griffin situation? That just one?
No.
So Blake Griffin, what just happened? He had a fiance, a baby mama, right? Bryn Cameron. And I guess he asked for like a prenup before the wedding, like a week before the wedding. And then she said no. Actually, she said hell no. And then he went to Vegas, dumped her, and now he's reportedly dating Kendall Jenner. So, and now the baby mama is suing him for alimony or like palimony or whatever, because the promise of the fact that, you know, she was going to be kind of like tied to this money. I think she deserves, now she's saying that he's not caring for their 2 kids that they've had together. Now that's foul. You should definitely be doing your part. But I know, because I pay child support, they going to get that money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, when these people like be talking about like, oh, they don't pay no child support. Like, how? They take that junk out before I get paid. They get paid. All right? And I pay a great sum. Right, exactly. So, like, that'd be crazy how people get away with saying, like, brothers don't pay nothing. They don't do nothing. And what America do they live in? Because trust me, they gonna get that money. So Blake Griffin going to pay. That's regardless. But the fact that she wants money for a marriage that didn't happen, I think was kind of ridiculous. But I don't know. Thoughts on all this? Cheating. That's when we ever talked about cheating, because I guess in somewhat way he kind of cheated. You know, he told her via pursuing another chick that he's breaking up with her. So it's kind of a foul situation. But you know, like, how do we feel about this? So many voices on the media. You know, there's always agenda being pushed. Like, you know, any thoughts on this?
Ooh.
I know it's loaded. I do that every show. I throw out a loaded question. It's fun, and you know, people sweat. They're like, I don't want to be the first one to say something. I'll defer to Damo first. I'm gonna call him out. I know that's foul.
Yeah, that situation is a lot, like, because I do think it's unreasonable for her to want retribution for something that didn't happen, but at the same time, she's owed her due for the kid that they have together. But then he looks shady at the same time, because it's like, well, like, you literally in the blink of an eye went from one chick to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, she looks bad, but you look worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he should probably come out and kind of own the situation and take responsibility for it, not try to throw any shade to her and make her look bad in all this. I think at the end of the day, he should just kind of own the whole thing and, like, okay, this is my fault. I messed this up. That's what I feel like he should do with that.
Mm.
Just be a man and own it, and be the bad guy, regardless of whatever technicalities are there of who was right about this and who was wrong about that. Just scrap all that and just own it, and then let it quietly go away.
But was he the bad guy? I mean, what is he really going to own? She had a choice to make. We all have decisions. Right. He presented her with a prenup. She said no. That's the end for me. I mean, granted, yeah, he ran to a Jenner, I guess. Right. Jenner, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, a
Kardashian.
Same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same thing.
But,
yeah. Like, that wasn't better.
If you're presented with an option and you decline the option, then it just move on. You know, yeah, he needs to take care of his children, because that's a problem with, you know, the stereotype of black men that we don't take care of our children.
Right.
Take care of your children, move on with your life. But she shouldn't be looking for something for nothing. You dig what I'm saying?
Right. I guess my question is like, what, I don't know, I guess, like, how does that look to him, I guess, as far as the other woman coming into play? Like,
okay.
I mean, and also with the prenup, is that something that you do the week before a wedding, or is that?
And that's my thing. I think they're both at fault for not having that conversation about a prenuptial agreement earlier, as opposed to, again, we're assuming he had it pretty close to the wedding, because it seems like he did.
Yeah.
But I mean, he knows he's wealthy. He knows he just signed a contract last year, so I understand his necessity to be careful. But maybe he should have asked her that on date 3 or date 4 or date 5 or date 6.
Not 2
you know
kids.
What I mean?
Like, yeah.
Exactly, and that's my thing. So that would be my only issue with that.
Because the fact that she got them kids, she gonna get paid regardless, young. Like, you know, already gave her 2 babies, so, you know, like that. It was a crazy situation, but I wanted to hear. I heard a lot of women comment on it throughout the week, and I wanted to hear what, you know, some men have to say. And I think you guys are a level-headed group of men, so I wanted your thought process on that.
I think that the Kardashians are the most dangerous family to African Americans in the history of mankind. And if he feels like he wants to, they have single-handedly destroyed more black families and relationships than the Ku Klux Klan. And if he wants to go over to a Kardashian, then God bless him.
Man, they ruin lives.
Yeah.
Tristan Thomas ain't played the same since.
Starting
Lamar Odom,
from the Kardashian. What's her name? She was married to a dude for a month. And he ain't played in the NBA since. Reggie Bush, where is he? You know what I'm saying? Like the Kardashians mess up.
Kanye like number 4 or 5 right now.
And Kanye's lost his mind. So, you know, it's I feel like to your point though about like the many voices of people trying to be experts. You know, I guess my question would be why. I think what we need to address is why they need to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is there a necessity for these voices? You know what I'm talking about? Like, so you got you got guys like this dude who takes videos from his car, you know what I'm saying, to advise women on relationships. Why does he have a voice? Why do people feel like his voice is necessary? You got people like Steve Harvey, who in my own personal opinion has made a living off of the degradation of the stereotype of the black man. But nonetheless, he's as famous. I mean, he wrote books. Because I think that people are lazy. People are looking for a silver bullet or a secret weapon that says my relationship will work as long as I do this. And we're lazy. Relationships don't work like that. Right. You know, relationships take work. They take time. They take effort. And as long as you're looking for a silver bullet, Negroes like them will always be a necessity.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no magic potion to this. It's like losing weight. You can take all the pills you want, bro, but if you ain't in the gym putting in that work, you're gonna be fat as you was the month before. It's just those are just facts, and I think that our laziness has given voice to some of these. I don't want to get mad deep though, but to me they false prophets. You know what I'm saying? We've given voice to a lot of these people who, if we were operating under better circumstances, wouldn't have a voice.
Now, if we communicated more, see, the problem is the voices exist because we don't know how to communicate. Black men don't know how to trust black women with how they feel for fear of looking weaker in the eyes of the black women they love. If we learn how to communicate honestly and openly, those voices wouldn't even, there would be no reason for Steve Harvey to tell you how I'm playing the game because there's no game for me to play. Right. There would be no Derek Jackson telling you how I ain't shit because you would know I am. Because I'm communicating to you openly and honestly, and you're receiving it, and you're protecting what I'm telling you. But if I can't communicate with you and you can't communicate with me, you're gonna find that communication from somewhere.
Sure enough.
Yeah. I think they're taking something that we do need, and then they're using it in a ill-advised way. Like we need men at the forefront, being examples, speaking into our lives. You know, being the head, you know, leading the way for us, showing us the way to go. We need that. But then we have these people who kind of step in and then they just kind of tell people what they want to hear versus actually giving them real truth and real wisdom. And they step in that slot, and then it kind of makes people with a genuine intention to want to do that same thing, it makes them kind of shy away from it a little bit because they're like, well, you have these Derek Jacksons and these other cats out here that are doing it, and they're getting millions of ears, they're getting millions of views, they're going viral. And then it's like, if I kind of come in, then it's like I'm going to get blamed for trying to be what they are.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a hard place to play in. I think, you know, TNGS, we're trying to be able to operate with those kind of voices without falling into the fray. But you know, it's an interesting place to be in. We don't have that much time left. But before I get to like where people can find you, gotta ask this question, right? Because I know a lot of my fellas, you know, like, and a lot of people are itching to know, how important is sex or the time for sex? Because, you know, we have various views, right? Some people say that men, that's all we think about is sex. That's all we want is sex. Look at all these bad decisions being made because they wanted to get more sex. So, you know, from, you know, not going to lead the witness, but do we feel like, are men just cheating on these women, or are men making decisions, or, you know, men pressuring for sex? Is that's all they want is sex? Or doesn't it originate from another place like loyalty or respect? Is there something else that's driving that connection? Just want to give the opinion of the brothers.
Well,
as quick as possible. I know we're running out of time.
Let's not play no game. Sex is super important. But if I can't trust you with me, then I'm just going to run. You see what I'm saying? Because we might run to Becky because Becky going to let us do some strange shit. You dig what I'm saying? When we should be running to our wife, that's going to be able to give us that thing in a protected space. But we can't trust that with who we're with. It's all about communication and being open and expressing what you want, and that person either respecting it and meeting it or saying, hey, you know, I'm not about that, and moving forward. But you have that conversation, because so many of us run to other women because we don't know how to express what we want. That's what it is.
I like that. Any other thoughts to add on to that? I mean, just
absolutely none.
I mean, he pretty much hit it right on the head. Like that was like snapped. Over. Yeah. Look, man. I wish we had more time, man, just to talk about. Like, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
Yeah.
So y'all gonna be getting the call back. But I want to get final thoughts and where people can find you. While we still got like 2 minutes left.
Okay. Final thought.
Yeah.
Be open to love. Be open and honest. Communicate better. If you can't communicate with who you're with, then you're not with who you need to be with.
Where can they find you at?
You can find me at UBF, Unapologetically Black Folk, at squarespace.com, and Rooted Locks on IG.
That's what's up. Paul, final thoughts. Where can they find you?
To me, I just want to impress upon people that relationships are work. Relationships are climbing a mountain, and a lot of things about climbing a mountain is when you get to the top of that mountain, it's very pretty up there, but the air is also thin. So what people never take into consideration is the thing that you have to prepare yourself for the ascension of the mountain. If you're not prepared, then don't go up there because the air is thin. So you can catch me at Paul Ain't Right at Twitter.
I didn't get an oxygen tape for that one, brother. Damn.
Man, preaching. Where can they find you? Paul Ain't Right. Paul Ain't Right at Twitter.
Paul Ain't Right on Twitter. Good to be Paul on Instagram, and Paul Thompson on Facebook.
Man, follow him. Learn something. Damien, final thought. Where can they find you?
Well, final thought.
Yeah, right. After that, right? My name is Damien.
Right, exactly. We're signing off. My final thought would be keep God first in everything. Build good, genuine relationships with people. When you do that, everything will fall into line. Just be honest, communicate, be genuine with each other. Everything will fall into place. As far as where you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Damo_CN3D. That's DAMO _SEAYN in 3D on Instagram and Twitter.
Excuse me. Final thought. I guess my final thought would be to black men, love yourselves and learn to heal. Because you can't love anybody until you love yourself first. And I think as black men, we fail to look at ourselves introspectively to know that we also need help. And you touched on it too about being able to communicate how we feel. So I think black men, we need to do a better job of loving ourselves so that now we can only love our women, but our sons and our daughters.
Absolutely.
Our brothers, our sisters, our friends.
Yeah, our friends.
But please, black men, love yourselves. Because I've learned the hard way, and I'm learning the right way, and it's a blessing. So I'll leave it with that. You can find me at StephenJPowell.com. That's STEPHEN, the letter JPOWELL.com.
Man, like, only thing I can say is, like, man, clap it up, man. Like, these, y'all. Our studio audience is loving this. Yes, we have a live studio audience at the Nitty Gritty Show. I done seen people shout. I done see hands. I done see feet stump. I done seen hands waved. Like, we didn't have church in here. Like, these brothers know how to play tambourine. Y'all didn't watch that joint, right? Y'all like that? Y'all like? I'm almost good at this nitty gritty thing, man. I'm almost good. Like, no, but you know what? I really appreciate the feedback, and I feel like, you know, it's important that, you know, we have maturity here. We had various life stages. I mean, I think there was a lot of great wisdom given, and this is the face of black men that I want America to see more of.
Facts.
They don't see enough of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They need to see brothers like you guys. You guys are men of faith. You guys are men about family. You're all men about community. You all work. And the thing is, even though none of you, your main focus in life for none of you has been money. I've had multiple conversations with all of you. None of you look at money as the end-all, be-all for everything in life. Right. But somehow you're all making it because it's something about when you put your community, when you put love, when you put family first, money gonna come. And I can see that with this whole panel. And some of you guys have testimonies of like the fact when you got with the women you're with, I didn't necessarily have the bag secured, but the bag came. Because when you have a willingness to do right for someone, it's going to come. We know we seen our great grandfathers do it, our grandfathers, our fathers, and I could keep on going. We don't need to get away from the basics. I think sometimes we focus so much on this new stuff, this new age, or as you guys all kind of mentioned at some point, these voices that are needed, because you know people want the direction, but we're not communicating what we got to put out. And I like the fact you all said communication, you all said loyalty. No one was worried about the superficial. We're black men. Of course, we like booty, but that's not superficial. We know what's real. That's not superficial. But we're going to go ahead and cut out, you know what I'm saying, because we got another show that's going to play on Listen Vision. But, man, I was really happy to have you guys today. We're going to do a part 2 of this soon. Like, I know we booked up for a minute, but, like, maybe in May we have to get back together and do a part 2 of this because there's a lot of things we didn't talk about. I wanted to get more into, like, child support, being mom support. I wanted to talk more about Have you had your heart broken? How do you get over a broken heart? Like, these are things we didn't talk about, but I want to get into that because that's things that men deal with too, right? And we have a lot to say about it. You guys had a lot to say today. Once again, I appreciate you brothers for coming out. You can find the Nitty Gritty Show at the Nitty Gritty Show on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at the Nitty Gritty Show. You can find us on Twitter at the Nitty Gritty Show or Nitty Show, at Nitty Show, or you type in the Nitty Gritty Show. Either way, it comes up. And you can find us on am I forgetting one? YouTube, yeah. And then you go watch the YouTube, the Nitty Gritty Show on YouTube, right? We post all the videos there. This one will be up tonight, probably no later than 10 o'clock. And you'll see clips of this on IG. Once again, y'all brothers, I was just happy to have y'all. And it's been the Nitty Gritty Show. It's your boy Jay DeCosta, and we out.